Today I'm going to be doing a quick July favorites and a July palette update. So again, I don't have a whole lot of like new products to show. A lot of these are probably things I've shown before, but these are what I've been using for this month and things I've really been liking. So the first thing, I officially have like what I would consider used up. I showed this like in my last empties, but it's one of my favorite highlighters. This is the Pony Effect Mirage highlighter in the color Lucid Dream. I bought mine from Mimi Box when they still sold stuff directly, and it lasted me about like a year and a half, so I think that lasted a pretty good amount of time. I think it was a little bit more expensive though. I feel like it was probably around $15. I just loved this one so much. I don't think I would repurchase it just because I do have so many other highlighters and I know that they're, you know, all kind of the same, but I really love this one. It was like the perfect color for my skin tone. It looked nice and icy without being like too blue toned or anything, but I think I have officially used this one up and I'm going to finally let it go. There were like tiny crumbles in here, you know, still there, but I think it's just time to let it go. But I feel so accomplished. I completely used up this product. I got my whole money's worth for it and I think it was totally worth it. So in the future, I would probably buy this. But as for like the near future, I've got so many highlighters, I really don't need to buy another one. Another favorite, whenever I go back and forth with testing a whole bunch of new like BB creams or cushion foundations or things, I always come back to this one, and it's the e.l.f. Acne Fighting Foundation. I feel like this is getting so much harder for me to find. They don't even sell it like in Walmart or Target, or at least mine anymore. They don't carry this foundation, which is extremely frustrating because it's my all-time like favorite one. I ended up repurchasing 2 more of them. I had to order like from Target online, which I like never really purchase from, but I couldn't find these like on Ulta's. Like the porcelain color is always sold out. I never find it on their website as well. So I ended up buying 2 more from Target in the color porcelain. I really wish they did have a color that was 1 step lighter than porcelain, but overall I can make porcelain work. So I got 2 more of those and it's just my favorite. Whenever I try other foundations and I come back to this one, I'm like, why do I even bother? Because this one just looks so nice on my skin and it doesn't like break up, which a lot of things do. They just like look bad at the end of the night, and this one just still looks really nice. Another favorite I've shown before, and I did a whole video dedicated to this one as well. This is from the Saem. It's called the Saemmul Cream Stick Blusher. I really like this. I also have the one from Missha that I like kind of did a like head-to-head test on these. I think that they're both really great. This is just the one I've been using. Oh no, I smashed it. Damn it, I smashed it. I kind of like messed it up, but it's just like a cream contour product. I love this one so much. And it was, I think this was probably like $6 to $8 or so. And I just like using it with this type of brush. This is one I got from Coastal Scents a few years ago, and this one was like $3 on sale. This one is called the BR110. This is just perfect for cream contour. I know that since it's like a flat top brush, it seems like it wouldn't be perfect, but it just is. Like using like just that little edge of it, I find that it's perfect for blending this out and making it so like flawless looking. So these two have been like my match made in heaven. My next favorite is this Missha lip product. This one I haven't done a video yet. I thought about doing one, but then it was just like a one-off kind of thing. I don't think I'll do a video dedicated to this because it's just like one product and I don't really know what extra I have to say, but this is the Missha, I think it's called the Wish Stone Lip Tint, and this one's in the color Chongsun. I think that means innocence in Korean. I can't remember off the top of my head, but I think, is it innocence or is it bliss? No, I think it's innocence. But I really love the packaging of this one. It's so cute. It looks like a little rose quartz crystal. But the actual product of this is like one of the lightest like whipped airy products ever. I'm gonna put it on this one. You're not gonna get like the full color because I have a different like lip color on, but it's so soft and like velvety. It's so nice. It has like the plushiest feeling on the lips. I really like this. If you like a more of like the soft matte lip cream kind of thing, those textures like really whipped and moussey, then you'd probably like this. I definitely could see myself buying more of these, but this one has been such a pretty color and I've been wearing it like all July. And I think this was only about maybe like $4 or $5. I can't remember right off the top of my head, but I think it was something around there, so super affordable. The next product is one I've actually had for a long time and I kind of used it on and off and I really liked it, but then I started like really using it again. And this one's kind of like, I feel like there's sort of like a controversial kind of thing around like lightening or like skin lightening products. This is from Etude House and it's called, oh my god, I think it's called just like a lightening cream. But basically it's like for like dark spots, like if you have dark elbows or like kneecaps or underarms. It's kind of like what I like to use this for. It's just kind of like a white cream and then you just blend it in. It has a bit of like a licorice kind of like a licorice scent. Like if you mixed licorice and like ground pepper, that's kind of what it smells like. But it's a really thin like white cream. Whenever you rub it in, like I don't really think it's one of those that like just like makes the skin look lighter. I feel like it might actually like lighten the skin a bit. I know there's like a lot of drama when it comes to like skin lightening products, but I just like using this for like my underarms, and if I use it consistently, you know, like maybe 3 days in a row, I feel like it really does kind of like, you know, lighten those dark areas. I feel like this was probably under 10 bucks or so. I got mine I think last summer, so I've actually had it for a while, but I just, you know, kind of forgot about it. Now I'm not like gonna show you my armpits or anything, but it definitely, I feel like, has helped kind of you know, lighten those areas a little bit if you have any dark spots that you're kind of conscious about. But yeah, I know that skin lightening products kind of has a weird, you know, kind of connotation around it. This one is 50 grams of product. The actual thing just says it's an anti-wrinkling whitening spot cream. It says it contains meadow wheat flour that brightens the skin and Swiss alpine herbs that soothes the skin with a nice flowery herb fragrance. Definitely has like a herby kind of scent to it. So I typically like to put this on at night. Again, do like your research if you are wary about using any kind of like skin lightening products. Could it give me cancer? Maybe. But will I have dark armpits? No. The next thing is kind of like such a random product, but it like has really helped. So I have this like glass makeup palette. Now, to be honest, there are tons of companies that like sell like glass palettes and stuff, and I always thought it was kind of weird. Mine, okay, is like a super random story, but there was like this old warehouse in my aunt's like city where they were like getting rid of all their junk or whatever and moving to a different building, so they like allowed the public like to come like pilfer through their junk, and it was like an old glass company, and they had these like little like sample glass things, and I ended up like just snagging 3 of them. It's literally just like a thick paned glass, and it has like the beveled edge, so you're not gonna like cut yourself on it. But this has been so helpful for doing my like makeup, because I like to put my foundation on here and then I use mixing drops to kind of lighten them up. I find it so much easier to just like mix it on a palette than like wasting product or like putting it on the back of my hand and then like having the product dry there and stuff. So I've been using this nonstop. I use it for like mixing lip colors, for my eyebrow colors, because since I've gone red, I've had to like try to figure out how to do my eyebrows again, and I just find it super convenient. So even though it's like one of those weird things, like a glass palette has really been so convenient for doing my makeup. And again, these I just got from like an abandoned warehouse, so it's a weird thing. I would not pay like a whole bunch of money for it because it is just glass, but it's just like a nice like super thick glass, and it's been like strangely really convenient. So some non-beauty favorites of this month has definitely been a few months ago I asked in my favorites, you know, like I had been listening to true crime podcasts, and I had finished Up and Vanished. I've watched Serial, I've listened to Serial, I've listened to S-Town. I really like those. I listened to Atlanta Monster, and I really liked all those because they were super like well produced podcasts, very story based line, and like each season is like one whole story. So I'd asked you guys for more ones that you thought were really good, like true crime podcasts, and I had one on my list that I had like always wanted to listen to, but I'd never gotten to it yet, and that was My Favorite Murder. And one of you guys had suggested that. I can't remember your name off the top of my head, I'm so sorry, but I definitely saw your comment, and whenever you had like mentioned that My Favorite Murder was a really good one, I was like, oh yeah, I've heard about that one, I should go listen to it. So I had tried to listen to like the first episode, and I was like, oh, I don't know about this one. So then I stopped listening to it, and I went through my list of other podcasts to listen to, and I was kind of like skimming through some of them, kind of listening if I wanted to like commit the whole like season to listening to them. And then I was just like, none of these are really standing out to me. So then I went back to My Favorite Murder. At first, I do have to say, I thought like Karen and Georgia, I thought they were so slightly annoying at first, but oh my god, I have like completely fallen like headfirst into like My Favorite Murder podcast. It's definitely completely different if you're used to listening to like really polished podcasts, which it sounds kind of like a backhanded compliment, but I really love My Favorite Murder. The only difference is that it's like two best friends like talking about murder, and it's, when I first listened to it, I was like, oh my god, they're like really kind of like excited about these murders, which always sounds weird, but I binge listen to that podcast every single day. Like, I don't think there's been a single day this month that I have not listened to My Favorite Murder, because there are like, I think there's up to like 130 episodes plus their like mini episodes, and I always listen to podcasts at like 1.5 speed so I can get through them a little bit quicker. But oh my god, I have been listening to them so much. They definitely take a very like light kind of approach to like talking about the murder cases, which is kind of jarring at first because I was like, oh my god, they're like, you know, laughing and joking about murder, which is kind of weird, but I totally get it now and I see why they are such a huge podcast. And it was so funny because whenever I first started listening to it, I couldn't tell like which one was Karen, which one was Georgia, and in my head, I think I had listened to about like 5 episodes or so, and I was finally like, okay, I need to figure out which voice is which. And whenever I like looked up them like talking in an interview or something, I was like, oh my god, I had completely switched their voices. Like I thought Karen's voice was Georgia and Georgia was Karen. And then I look at the comments on that video and like all the top comments were like, oh my god, I thought they were each other. I thought this one was this one. And I thought it was so funny how so many people also thought their voices were switched just like I had. But it's definitely a comedy podcast. It's like, is true crime, but I would say it's comedy more than true crime, but it's really funny because like they'll get some things wrong in the story and then like the next week they'll be like correction corner, so here's how we messed up the last story. So it's really funny. It's not like some super like extremely overproduced podcast. It's just like 2 best friends talking to each other. But some of the things they say, it makes me laugh so hard because I'm like, oh my god, they shouldn't be saying that, but it's really so funny. Yeah, so if you like a more comedic based kind of podcast where they're talking about death and murder and really heinous things, then definitely give this a listen. So thank you so much who suggested that one. It was definitely on my list, and whenever you had mentioned it, I was like, I need to definitely like give this one a listen. So thank you so much for telling me about that podcast. And finally, moving on to my palette update, I feel like it makes a little bit more sense to just kind of put this together in my like favorites video because especially the last few months, it has not been going so great for these palettes, so I feel like it didn't really warrant its own video. And I feel like more people watch these whenever it's just kind of all included into another video. So my palette for the month was the Balm in the Beautiful from the Balm. This is one I've had for so long. So this palette, I have to say, I failed so bad this month, like just so bad. So these are what the colors look like. They're really pretty. The only problem I have is that it's an all shimmer palette, and I don't think that this is a bad palette. Again, it's not terrible, but I feel like I used this 5 times this month and that was it. That was it. So I really failed. I feel like the problem was that obviously there weren't any mattes in here, so I'd always find myself reaching for other palettes to like supplement this one, and then I was like, well then what's the damn point of using that palette? I did use the cream blushes quite a bit, but they are kind of like on the drier side, but I just found that it just wasn't worth it to me to keep the whole palette for those products. So this one I'm definitely gonna let go. It's very lightly used, like I have had this for a while. The shimmers are pretty, but they're not like super blinding shimmers. They're more of kind of like a meh kind of shimmer. So unfortunately, I think this is gonna be another palette that I declutter, which I feel so bad about because it's like I've paid money for all these things and I wanna keep them, but it's like, what's the point of keeping products if they're just not really that good anymore? So even though this is like not a bad palette or anything, I feel like, you know, I could probably give this to a friend or some family members that are probably a little less picky when it comes to makeup and stuff, because I still think the products are fine and usable. I just didn't really care for this palette and I feel like I just failed really bad this month. I also had so many other products that I was trying to review for my channel, so it was just kind of like getting to be too much to try to use this palette all the time, so I really didn't give this one a super fair shot, but I know that it's just time for it to leave my collection. So the next palette for the month of August, we will see if I do better next month than I did this one. Hopefully I will, but I say that every time and this month was a fail. This one is from e.l.f. I apologize because I don't think you can get this palette anymore, but that's not really what this like video series is about, to be honest. It's really just, personally for me, it's like my collection and trying to find products that are already in my collection that I can let go because I have so many, and even though I want to buy a lot of new things, it's just like, it gets to be a lot. So this is the palette that I'm going to be using. I looked so far all over the internet to try to figure out what this palette is called. There is like a number on the back, but it's just like a long serial number. This is what the palette looks like. I'm sure I got this like probably 5 years ago. But this is what it looks like. Overall, it's a pretty neutral palette, but it's got some cool kind of neutrals, some warm ones. Kind of got like this navy blue here, which is pretty. It's got this like kind of green, olivey gold kind of color, which I feel like is really pretty. So this is going to be my next month's palette. Hopefully I will do better, but otherwise, I think that's pretty much it for this video. I hope you guys found it helpful. If you did, please like and subscribe. You can follow me on Instagram, link is below. And until my next video, I will talk to you guys later. Bye.